on the question of stewardship, so how can we move from leadership to stewardship? And stewardship includes custodianship, because when we work with stewardship and custodianship, we feel a deep sense of responsibility for the whole of life and for the future generations not yet born. When we only work with leadership, and we have a lot of education for leadership, it's like, yeah, I lead, I'm a leader. Yeah, it can go into that again. Which is not kind of the common responsibilities that are outlined in the Earth Charter so beautifully.
So it's more on I and less on lead.
Exactly, exactly. And how leadership is a quality then of the system. So how do we then help to facilitate and cultivate systems where a sense of responsibility and leadership are qualities of the system, so that anybody who's a part of that naturally feels that sense. And therefore there's a collective responsibility.
How does this relate, Annelies, to curatorship? Yeah.
What do you mean by curatorship? So I know how I can answer that better. What is it? Tell me first what curatorship means to you.
It's something that we've been working with in the report and in many of our conversations. And it moves from projecting, which is a planning stance, to designing the future, which is a dreaming and a backcasting stance, right? Possibilistic, aspirational, to listening into that which is seeking to emerge, listening into and trying to facilitate the emergence of that which is seeking to emerge in any case, in life-affirming ways. So a curator in this sense is like being a curator of art exhibit in a museum. You don't actually work with the art itself, but create a systemic nurturance space that allows it to fully express in its richest potential.
Yes, so it's very much the same, yes? They are the same qualities. When I tune into the word stewardship and custodianship, there's one stronger line. It's like there's curatorship in it, but the steward and the custodian, it's almost like it takes through that sense of responsibility at an even deeper and longer level. So it starts there, but it doesn't end there, if that makes sense. There are more lines in it. I don't know how else to express that. Let me see if I can make these lines a little bit more explicit. When I'm talking about lines, it's again, how big do we make the system, and what, where are the boundaries of the system, and what do we feel connected to? So if we're taking it, for example, as planetary stewardship, you need to be able to dream very far into the future. And then indeed supporting both the what is emerging, but also, and this comes back to report, and now we're going to go full circle, it's supporting the emergence, but also to facilitate the falling away, the deconstructing of the old models in such a way that that process is not harming the new seeds that are coming forth. And at the moment I'm seeing a lot of harm coming from that, because there is a deconstructive process that can turn destructive. They're not the same. Deconstructive, yeah, is very important to go through that breakthrough. The destructive can go to breakdown, yeah. So there's, if you're looking at it even energetically, in these former realities and worldviews and everything that we've created around, it's a lot of investment. So there is a breakdown, there's a deconstruction. So there's also some energy that doesn't know where to go. And that can turn also destructive. And you see this in some of the youth that just feel like, I don't want to have anything to do with this. I don't care. It's not, I didn't create this problem. It's not my world anyway. So why should I do something about that? So to me, these are the kind of voices that are coming out of these. It's like these expressions of consciousness. They don't see any connection. They don't feel that they have a meaningful purpose. It's like the energy that's broken down but hasn't been repurposed. So when we steward, or if you like the word curate, and we're custodians, we're standing in the care for the emergence as well as the care for what's dying. And we help the transitioning of that energy and those investments also into what is emerging.
It's an alchemy of sorts. It's a form of
Yes,
of transmuting resonant potential into maybe its highest life-affirming connections.
exactly. And and this is the harder part, some of these expressions cannot be transmuted, they will be dissolved. When I did a visioning session where there were bankers, and I asked them the question in a large dialogue, where do you see yourself in the future? One of the bankers was shocked, and he was like, I don't know if I did the exercise correct. I said, what happened? Well, I couldn't see myself in the future because my job didn't exist. And he was really shaken by that, you know, because it's like he felt blank because I am not in this future. So it was, you know, some of that role, and he understood then that, oh wow, I have invested in a role and I show up for that role every day, and yet in my future it may not exist anymore. So there's a dissolution. So in, you know, the energy of when we work with the process of dissolution, people can also feel disillusioned. So dissolution is a dissolving process, and this is why it's, you know, so important. Nice clock. To work with what's been held and locked into that, to give that an opportunity for a new experience of itself within the whole, and to allow also what is dying and falling away and served its purpose. Just acknowledge it, don't make it bad. And it comes again into the, you know, the guilt. It's like, you know, we create also all these educational systems that we feel are not working. Look, if they hadn't created that, we wouldn't be having this conversation and this question. So also it serves a purpose. It may not take us through where we need to go for the future, but it's given us so much context for learning. So everything has its purpose to play, and let's honor it for the purpose it served. Learn from that, and then really support, you know, what's coming through from that learning.
Well, thank you so much, Anneloes.